And I know everyone's like, I don't want to be pigeonholed. I don't want to get into a box.
You'd
It's
be
like,
lucky to
oh,
get into a box.
yeah. Friggin' pray for that box. Jump into that box with both feet, like my cat does, and just love that box because that box is making you money. That box is getting you scripts. That box is giving you a career that you're going to be able to jump out of that box and make an even bigger career 2 years from now. So get real nice and cozy in that box for 2 years and stop effing complaining that you're being put into a box. You're
If you're
being put
God,
into the studio system. That's what you're being put into.
it's insane when I hear that. I'm like, I don't want to be boxed. I'm like, you would be so blessed and lucky if you could be boxed in. I know what I know. I used to. One of my good friends was Wes Craven's assistant years ago, and he would tell me stories of how upset Wes was about. Man, I'm stuck in this horror box. I can't do anything. And do you remember that there was a movie called Music of the Heart?
Yeah,
With
the
Meryl Streep and Gloria
Sure.
and Gloria Estefan. That
Yeah.
was a Wes Craven directed film.
Absolutely was.
And you know why he got that? Because they wanted Scream 2. That's the only reason he got
That
it.
makes sense.
He wanted Scream 2. He's like, you want Scream 2? Give me, it was called 500 Violins originally, and then it changed to
right.
Music of the Heart. And I was like, but look at that. Wes Craven had one of the greatest horror directing careers in the history of cinema. Honestly, his name is up there. But he was unhappy about being in the box.
Look, I get it. I mean, you don't want to be in that box forever.
Yeah.
You know?
So don't
and
be
wanna
too
do
good,
other
is what you're saying.
things.
Don't
Yeah.
be too good in that box. Like if you're really
Right.
good, then you're stuck there. But just be good enough to get in a box, and then you can chop out.
Right. But that's the conversation to have with your rep saying, look, I love doing horror, and that first script that got you a rep and got you 40 meetings around town was a horror script. So that's the next two projects you're going to do are horror projects. But if you tell your rep up front, like, hey, I love doing the genre stuff, but I also want to do comedy, and I also want to do an action movie, then their job is to find that project, to develop with you or for you to develop that is going to make that transition for you so that you're going from horror to horror comedy to comedy, or horror action to action comedy to whatever. And so that they have a plan for your career. And I always tell, when writers are trying to find their voice, find their box, but not get too stuck, I always tell my writers to look at the subgenres that you're writing to try and find a through line that is your voice, because it's not usually in that major genre, that first genre. But if you come to me and you say, look, I have an action comedy, a horror comedy, and a romantic comedy, I was like, okay, well, you've got a through line there that tells me what your voice is. You're just bringing that voice to different genres, but now we know what your voice, what you want to do, what that connective tissue is, so that we can sell you as a type of writer. Even though you're doing different genres, we know what your voice is bringing to that genre. And that's how you break out of that box, is by using those subgenres and secondary genres to bring out who you are as a writer, instead of just, the genre of the premise you happen to come up with.
That's awesome advice. Actually, it's really great advice.